and I felt it, Abby. I felt a wave of something happening. And I would, throughout the day, I was, cleaning her apartment and, getting her Dawn dishwashing pods. And I was, trying to get her moved in. But I would look and I would think it was being shared thousands of times. And people that I think that blew me up. I'm not kidding. People saw that and thought, who is that? And what else does she have? So then they started looking at everything else I had. And so all of a sudden, within, I don't even know how long I should have journaled, weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, comedy clubs start calling over the United States. Who is that? Can we get her? We're getting calls to see her. So I started selling out all over the United States. People lined up, they're trying to add shows. It was the craziest thing. I started working places I never worked before. Yes, and let me tell you this. I didn't have an agent and nobody wanted to take me. And my manager at the time begged people to take me and they'd pass me up. And I was selling out. And I don't know if they looked and thought, she's 52. This is a fluke. I think a lot of them thought she's one of these people that's doing digital, like a character, and she is not really a stand-up. They didn't know I'd been doing it for 20 years. So I think they thought it's a fluke and they wouldn't sign me. And my manager finally got somebody to take me as a favor. And he started booking me all over the United States. And then I got a 100-city tour offer from Outback Concerts out of Nashville. That's the biggest comedy bookers. Or promoters in the world. And I got my first 100-city deal in theaters like Tennessee Theater, 1,500 seats to 2,500 seats. And, it was just crazy. And they'd already started selling tickets, started putting them on sale and selling out. And but darn if COVID didn't hit. And that shut it down. And I sat and wrung my hands and thought, the biggest thing's ever happened to me. It's not going to happen. But I started getting on the back porch doing videos like everybody else sitting there cooking a chicken casserole. And I just would, no makeup, looking like a pick jaybird. I'd get on the back of the porch and say, well, I've cooked a chicken casserole and I drank a glass of wine in my home. Normally I didn't do that. We all did, terrible unhealthy things, freaked out. And I had elderly parents my mom was sick and I was helping take care of her, and I'd drive back and forth and I would talk about taking care of my mom, and at the time, she'd had a stroke, couldn't eat solid foods. So I would talk about making her a Jell-O salad because that's what my people have always had it, because I'm from the country. And people would send me Jell-O salad recipes for my mama, soup, casseroles. And let me tell you, and I don't mean to get sappy, but that's when I knew something. Yes, I knew I had a 100-city tour and I was, unbelievable. But during that, I saw, I don't know what I went from on Facebook, maybe 450,000 followers to 1.8 million, maybe. I don't even know. But it was a community. It became a community of people, mamas, seeing my children, me talk about taking care of elderly little mom and daddy, because how many people are going through that, and then trying to raise your own children or launch your own children. And I would say to people, everything's going to be all right about the COVID. And people felt, I guess, comforted by me and my voice. And that built it even bigger. What I thought was going to squish it and it was not going to happen because of COVID made it bigger. And I really was just, my social media little guys that were so precious would say, well, can you do some kind of content? You can't do stand up. So I would, every once in a while I cook a recipe, or my baby, all right, she graduated from that big fancy television and film school, had got her first movie with Sony. They had to shut it down. So she had to move in with us after living in and going to school in Manhattan. She had to live with us. But she's a wonderful cook and a wonderful makeup artist. So she would do makeup videos on me and stuff like that. And they would go viral because people were just sitting there and didn't have anything else to do. And so all these middle-aged women, named Deborah, are texting Tess or messaging her, what do I do for concealer? I feel like my under eye's creepy. So then Tess was, tending to all these people, but it became like a big community of best friends. Yeah. It really did. And it was more special than anything I ever thought about. And it was more than comedy and entertainment. It really was. It just happened to be that thing in time, and people felt like I was their friend. You could be my best friend, you could be my mom, you could be my, sister. And I get that all the time, and I get that I'm not political. People enjoy that, everybody's so tired. and worn out. The world seems like it's coming to an end. People don't want to talk about that anymore. I don't think. I mean, my audience says, thank you for not being political. Thank you for not, being uncomfortable. And I knew something special was going on when I was doing the comedy clubs before COVID hit. There would be like an 85-year-old little woman with a little brooch in the front row who has never been to a comedy club before. So it would be like generational. It'd be like an 80-year-old mom, her 50-year-old daughter, her 25-year-old daughter. It was that, and that was special. And those comedy club people said to me, the managers, where have you been and when can you come back? Because they'd never seen that before. And they could all relate. They didn't have to be embarrassed in front of their grandmama. It was just, So that was special. And I did the Big Panty tour. And I was talking about my panties. We had a ball talking about my panties. Well, and Outback Concerts had a meeting with me to tell me they were going to give me this 100-city tour, and I was shaking. And I'd known those men for 20 years, and they have all been in my corner, but I was still just like, what? And there's young girls on their marketing team, young women that are, in their 20s and 30s. And they said, what do you want to call this thing? I said, I think I want to call it the Big Panty. And I just said, I like a comfortable panty. And I feel like I'm talking about my panties a lot in my act. And one of the young girls took a deep breath and she went, and I thought, okay, if she gets it, then, I don't think I'll turn men off. I hope I don't, because I love men and I want them to be able to, I didn't want them to think, oh, this is some big, all girls night, because it's really not. Yeah. So I thought, I was worried. I thought, is that going to be all right? What is it? But it turned out it was all right. And okay, so I go all over the country talking about all kinds of things, but some of it, my big panties. And women brought big panties that looked like it could fit on the hood of a car. I don't know where they buy them, like 4 women standing in them, and people would throw stuff at me, blow kisses at me. It blew my mind, and it kind of messed with me. I kind of had imposter syndrome, and I kind of thought, I'm not worthy of this. People were so good to me, and we love you, Leanne, and you're speaking for us, and we want you to win. You're women, you can do that. And that kind of messed with me. I thought, I'm not worthy. So I went through all that. And then my people kept trying to sell Netflix, and and they didn't turn me down, but it wasn't, they weren't like, oh yeah, we'll do her. So I thought, maybe I had to put it on YouTube by myself, which is, people are doing that. And it's great. Yeah, it's great for people. But I wanted that Netflix. That's the stamp of approval. If you get Netflix, that is like, you're legit. That's the bomb. And they kept, talking to Netflix. And so anyway, Netflix bought it. I produced it. I own it, but I leased it to Netflix. That's the deals people are doing now. And they want to shoot it in Lexington, Kentucky. And we sold out 5 shows. They filmed the last 2, and it has really done well. It dropped April the 11th. It's called I'm Every Woman. And I've stayed in the top 6, but I've hovered around 4, kind of dip. Now I'm back at 4. I mean, who knows how long but I'm the top woman this year. I guess since, in viewership, maybe since 2021. It's, getting a lot of buzz. Netflix wants me to do another one. And I was just in a comedy festival, the biggest comedy festival in the world, Just for Laughs in Montreal, Canada. And, Netflix was there, and they're precious to me. I said, oh, am I going to get like Mariah Carey? And my feet can't even touch the ground, because I don't know if they think she's feeble. We've got to walk her through the streets. I don't know. They all hold on to me. But I think this is what it is. I don't want to downplay my talent or anything, because I'm bad about, self-deprecating. But I think I've hit a niche that they have ignored, and they admitted, like people out in the middle of the United States, that, moms, just women of a certain age, we have neglected them. And they realized they needed, that I had gotten this niche with this big tour, and they wanted to be a part of that, and it has paid off. And I think, what do I know, but I think Jennifer Aniston, Gwyneth Paltrow, they're all talking about menopause. And you think of Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, all the movies, Netflix, Grace and Frankie's one of the top shows. So yeah, I think they're all realizing, but for people in the United States of America, they forget about the East Coast, they want, I think a lot of times they go, what does the East Coast want in New York and LA? But there's a lot of people out here in the middle of the United States who just, want to see their children do well, and they want to, send their kids to college, and they want to know what to cook, and they just are normal everyday people. They want to wear a big panty that goes over your stomach. But, life is hard. It kicks you in the teeth. This world's rough. And I do think that people need humor, and people want, lighthearted.
Yes.
You can find comedians that want to talk about politics, and that's great. But that's just not what I do. Here in Knoxville, Tennessee, the biggest moment, I just did the Knoxville Civic Auditorium and sold out 2 arena shows. That was a big deal. That, and they're saying I'm going to be in some arenas, and hopefully next tour, an arena tour.